嘘に引いた心の星に灯るいつの間にか燃え広がる熱情私の超不足君飛び回りあなたの手にのつけた鏡ある指ほどいて指からしたいと許されないことならばなおさら燃え上がるの抱き寄せてほしい確かめてほしい間違いなどないだと思わせてキスをして乗り換えてほしい不惑の時に愛しれ溺れていたいの
So, can you explain why that's the song you chose for today's podcast?
So today I chose Magnet and it's actually the first time I sang in this podcast. So
Because Ian isn't here.
Yeah, Ian isn't here, so I'm the substitute Ian.
Oh, you're not. You're your own thing.
What?
You're your own thing. You're
Yeah,
not
I'm
Ian.
not. I'm not. Yes, I am Eerie. I will not be defined by another person. Anyway, so yeah, I chose Magnet by Miku and Luka because it's a popular Vocaloid song, and for all I know, it is a song about a same-sex couple, and it's very sensual.
Sensual.
It's a very sensual same-sex couple song.
Okay. Yeah. So, having said that, we'll go back to the theme of that song later. But for now, hello and welcome to AME After Hours. Once again, we are a weekly podcast about anything and everything about anime, manga, and the community. So this is Angelica, your host for the podcast today.
This is Ari.
And today, our usual voice for the podcast will be replaced by a different kind of voice.
Boys are easily replaceable.
That's true.
So, can you please introduce yourself? What name shall we call you by on today's podcast?
Hi, you can call me Mango. Don't call me anything else. I'm Mango. And I'm here for today's podcast because two girls kissing makes me excited.
How about you? At least he's honest.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, my name's Walter, and I'm here because I am a former enthusiast of Yuri. Not as much anymore, but I think I can say a few things about it.
Okay, so as you may have noticed by our introductions and by Aries' song choice today, we're actually going to be talking about Yuri on today's podcast. Yuri or Shoujo Ai or Girls Love. So if you guys can remember last year we had a podcast about yaoi headed by the ACADCOM interns, and actually when they originally planned that podcast, we're gonna link it down below. So listen, if you want the yaoi version of this podcast, you can listen to that one. So actually when they planned the yaoi podcast, originally they were gonna talk about yaoi and Yuri at the same time, but then we only really have a limited time to record. So we propose that we're gonna have a dedicated podcast about Yuri because really, Yuri deserves its own spotlight.
I think both of them deserve their own spotlight, given how big the genres are.
Definitely. Yeah, so before we go into the meat of the talk of this podcast, let's us first define what is Yuri. How would you describe the genre of Yuri or Shoujo Ai or Girls Love?
Well, for me, Yuri is anything related to two females or girls having a relationship with each other. And it's more of an attraction. And it doesn't matter. I know that for yaoi, there's like a distinction between yaoi and shonen ai. But in the case of Yuri, that distinction doesn't really hold among the people who consume the media because we just say Yuri for everything. Anything that involves two girls getting together is Yuri. Whether it's just fluffy love or it's just two girls having sex all the time. From the extreme ends of the spectrum, everything is called Yuri.
Do you guys have anything to add to that definition? Anything at all?
Not adding, it's more of a question.
Yeah.
The thing is, if it's not centered on the two females that has this kind of attraction, is it still called Yuri?
What do you mean? What kind of
What if they're
situation?
just sidelines?
Sidelines.
Oh, like side
I get
characters.
Oh, yeah.
I
I get that. Sometimes that happens in like some media that the main pairing is not really Yuri.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you can classify that as a Yuri, but at the very least, exposure of those two girls who are like with each other, they will be like talked about in the fandoms. So at the very least, at face value, there's no Yuri in this media. But when you check what people say about it, there will be some people who are saying, "Oh, there's a Yuri couple here."
Adding to that, there was a case, you guys know, it's a different kind of Yuri on Ice.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's a yaoi
Yeah.
anime,
Yaoi
but
anime.
they did not label it as such.
Yeah.
And apparently, the intention of the director was they want to normalize it. Like, you don't necessarily have to label it as a separate genre that has same-sex couples. It's really just a show about ice skating. So they didn't want to label it.
That's
So I guess that can be an answer to your question too. Like, maybe in the near future, you really don't have to sideline
Yeah.
yaoi and yuri as its own genre. It's really just a show that just happens to have a same-sex couple
That's
as a
true,
center
that's
or as
true.
a sideline. Wow, I can't wait. I'm kind of looking forward to that kind of future. I mean, as much as I'm immersed in yaoi and yuri right now, going to a future but you don't have to sideline these kinds of
Yeah.
shows anymore will
Definitely.
be pretty nice.
It should be normalized, definitely.
Actually, yeah, when I read about the history of Yuri, the Yuri genre, and originally they made it like most of the plots of early Yuri anime and manga, they portrayed lesbianism as sort of a phase. Like, it's a temporary attraction to another woman. And the ending of those stories will usually be they're gonna conform to heteronormativity, like get it on the street. Yeah, it's like erasure.
I hate it.
But like we really moved past from those earlier depictions. Like nowadays, well, just like yaoi, the yuri genre is already evolving to be more inclusive of other stories. I mean, there are still some stories that are kind of problematic,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
there are stories that are trying to veer away from that problematism. That's not a word, but you know what
Yeah.
I mean. So speaking of these stories, since we're already mentioning that, can you guys think of any particular interesting Yuri anime or manga or manhwa that really, I don't know, that really strikes a chord in you? Like it's really something unique that you've seen compared to all the other Yuri you've consumed?
I have a bunch of titles. Let's just go with the most obvious one, since everybody knows this. Even the non-Yuri enthusiasts know this. Yagate Kimi ni Naru. It's in English. It's translated as "Bloom into You," and it's a story about a girl finding like discovering what love is. So the central theme isn't really like heterosexuality versus homosexuality. It's more like that the girl is just discovering love, and it happens to be that the one pursuing her is another girl. Of course, the theme about being two girls getting together is kind of weird. It's gonna show up somewhere in there as well, but the main theme is still discovering love. And apparently, it's the most famous Yuri content right now. And
Really?
Yeah.
Even more famous than Citrus?
yeah, it overtook Citrus.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, in our class, someone actually made like a paper about it, so it's that
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah, I think the good things about that manga / anime as well is the portrayal and the overall art is super pretty. So the scenes you'll see in the manga are very, it evokes some certain feelings that are appropriate with the manga.
Well, for me, my favorite Yuri, it's a manga actually.
Yeah.
It's along the same lines of why you like Bloom into You. It's called Tamen Degushi.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact translation of it, but
I'm not sure what the translation is either, but Yeah, it's a Chinese manhwa.
Yeah, it's a Chinese manhwa. And what I particularly like about it, well, they treat the girl and girl relationships as something normal.
Yeah,
Like,
that's one of the great things about Tame no Gushi is that they treat like girl and girl relationships as normal. For example, like you'll see that side characters are like definitely unfazed by the fact that two girls that they know are dating.
and they never drop that word, actually.
Yeah.
They never actually say lesbian or what they identify as. They just accept them for who they are. And it's really just a cute story of these two girls who were strangers at the start, starting to fall in love with each other.
Yeah.
And my favorite part really was when the main character, I forgot their names, I'm so sorry, the black-haired character, the tall one.
Sunjing.
Sunji?
Sunjing.
Sunjing. Yeah, Sunjing, when she was falling in love with Chutong, she never like she
went
didn't-
all out.
She went all out. She never went through that phase like, oh, maybe there's something
Yeah,
wrong with
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Like she's just really nervous about falling in love. It's not the fact that she's falling in love with a girl. It's falling in love in general, and that's a really sweet, very sweet depiction of what really romance is.
Yeah.
How about you, Walter? Do you have any particular shows that you like about you?
Well, mine's also manhwa,
Yeah.
and it's called Fluttering Feelings. But the thing about Fluttering Feelings is that, first of all, it's not in a high school setting. It's in college, so there's a more mature vibe to it. And unlike the titles you've mentioned, this one's more confused. Like, they know they have feelings for each other, but it's not more of, is it wrong? It's more of, do I really have feelings for it? So they go through, it's called Fluttering Feelings because it's really slow burn kind of thing. It's not just cute all over. There's like parts wherein the other girl does something to make the other girl jealous because they're sort of seeking validation from each other. And it's just a bunch of push-pull interaction between the two female protagonists. And yeah, that's the appeal to it, I guess.
It's nice to see that like Yuri shows that's not set in high school or in college. 'Cause,
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, if you notice, actually even
There's not a lot of them.
Anime in general is
Yeah,
all
anime in
about
general.
the high schoolers.
Yeah,
And
actually.
I read once, I think this was in Theory of Manga in Practice by Araki Hirohiko, JoJo's creator. Yes, nisegue ko into that. And he mentioned that the reason why a lot of manga focuses on high school is that it's really the demographic of manga, and they want a not so normal high school life for their readers to escape into. That's why a lot of it,
Actually,
focuses
makes
on
sense,
high school
yeah.
adventures.
Yeah.
But so it's nice to see something like Fluttering Feelings that really takes on gender and sexuality in the adult world.
Yeah.
Because your audiences are gonna change. They're gonna grow up.
That's true.
Yep.
But well, so we've already mentioned what particular anime or manga. Actually, we all named manhwas almost.
Yeah, almost.
Manhwas and
I can
anime.
give some more mangas if you want.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want to?
Well-
If you want to
Go ahead.
preach the word of
Yeah.
really good manga.
First of all, let me just, because since it was already mentioned, the thing about Citrus. Citrus was like at some point it was very famous. Yeah, and I don't want to say bad things about it, but yeah, it's
This is a safe space.
yeah. The thing about Citrus is that it's very drama focused, angsty, and it focuses on. It's those like stereotypical they're step siblings, that kind of thing. Yeah, Citrus is like that, just with two women instead of like a guy and a girl, and it focuses more on the strained relationship between the two characters and in relation to the society around them and their friends as well. And I'm not sure how the popularity kind of waned, but I just stopped reading it at some point because for me, it kind of got repetitive a bit. So if you want to check it out, yeah, please do. And support the author, but like that's just my personal opinions on it, and a lot of other people have the same thoughts, I think.
Well, yeah, having said that, actually, well, I'm writing a paper right now for a class, for my cultural communication class, and there was this reading where it tracked lesbian films in Philippine cinema
Yeah.
for a decade. Like, this went from like the 1990s up to now. And actually, earlier depictions of lesbians, this wasn't just for the Philippine side, this was the same case in a lot of countries. Early depictions of lesbian or girl and girl relationships, they treat it as a very perverse subject. Like, well, I mean, there was this mentioned in one article. If you look up lesbians on Google right now, most of what will come up is porn-related searches.
Yeah,
So
that's what
it has a lot to do with this idea that the girl and girl relationship is really just for the whims of the guy audiences instead of just an actual representation. So I guess I can kind of see where you're coming from, like with the nature of citrus and how it plays out. Because I've read citrus too and I got tired as well. Because yun nga, with the taboo, quote unquote, of being stepsisters, it kind of really left bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. But if you guys like citrus, that's fine. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
But, well, since we're already on this topic, earlier, a lot of what we discussed about Yuri was kind of in relation to the other genre of yaoi.
Yeah.
It can't be helped that those two will be compared because they're both tackling same-sex relationships in a way, but in different ways. So, how would you compare yaoi and Yuri? I know the first thing that's gonna come up into your mind is that Yuri is the less popular one between the two. So what are your thoughts on it?
Well, here's the thing. Yuri is objectively less popular than yaoi for a lot of reasons, and I've thought about this before as preparing for the podcast. And I was talking about this with my friends, and one of the things that they mentioned that kind of made a lot of sense, that why yaoi is more popular than Yuri, is that it's more quote-unquote exciting to see two guys fall in love with each other rather than girls. And the thing about that is I think it's rooted in actual society wherein guys aren't really like touchy with each other. And it's normal to see women giving affection, yeah. So I guess that's one of the reasons. And well,
yeah, I can see that. And then, well, I think one of the other reasons then is gay men in general are the most represented in media, not just in Philippine media.
Yep.
Like, I had a class last sem, Psych 103, LGBT psychology, and apparently, statistically speaking, there are more gay men in the world than there are, like, I think there's more gay men compared to the other sexualities combined.
Yeah.
So I guess that has a lot to do
That's
then.
a lot of gay men.
Yeah, that's a lot of gay men. I guess that has something to do why a lot of media focuses on the gay men before the others.
Yeah, and also adding to, like, seeing two girls being close is normal, and then seeing two guys is quote-unquote spicy. I don't really like saying that, but also, in this society, men are told to suppress their emotions.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity. It's a problem in society. And so if you, in yaoi rather, you'd see so much emotion. And that is something like new or fresh to the audience. And that is why they look for it. There is a higher demand for it rather than girls, because girls are much more open, It's much more normal for them to talk about their emotions rather than boys. When you see a boy cry rather than a girl cry, which would you pay attention to more? Kinda like it's a societal problem.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what do you want to see change in particular. Like, well, you see how popular yaoi is. You see how popular Yuri is relatively. So, I don't know. Is there some sort of change that you want to see between the two?
Change?
Like, well, where I'm going with this particularly, because I have some friends Yaoi Expo already ended. If you don't know Yaoi Expo, it's a convention that focuses on yaoi and shonen ai and boys love. And then there's been talk on Twitter going on, why is there Yaoi Expo? Why is there Blush Fun? But there's no Yuri-centric convention.
I have a lot of opinions about that.
So okay, this isn't concrete plans yet. You shouldn't take our word for this. We're not the actual organizers or planners behind this. But I'm kind of down for that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if you can create a space for people who like yaoi, why not create a space for people who like Yuri? Because, if ever that does happen, I really do want to attend. Because I want to explore more about Yuri. Because I already know a lot about yaoi. I want to go to Yuri naman this time.
Yeah.
You were going to say something?
The thing about holding a convention for Yuri instead of yaoi, and one of the reasons why we have so much traction going on for yaoi or like content is that first, it is simply more profitable to do yaoi instead of Yuri because the audience is automatically much larger than Yuri's.
Oh my god, you should have seen the auction on Yaoi Expo.
Yeah.
There's auctions.
Yeah,
in
there was
yaoi?
an auction.
For what?
And I just thought of this, and another one is like, this is just me. This is coming from a cis het man, and I think one of the problems with like a safe space for Yuri enthusiasts is that you can't separate the fact that a lot of Yuri material are meant for the male gaze.
Oh,
Yeah.
And a lot of Yuri content are made for actual lesbians as well. And if you like put these two categories of people together, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah.
That's a real concern for me because
Oh yeah, like you can't escape the fetishizing.
you can't escape the
Yes.
fetishizing.
And people who really just
Pandering.
want.
Mm.
That's gonna be difficult to manage.
I think it's different from the thing about yaoi and where it's like everyone is fetishizing. Not really everyone, but like the fetishizing is on men rather than women. So the men, well, I think this is my point of view, right? But like I think the men who are into yaoi don't see themselves as like fetishized or like oppressed in that sense, like the same way as like women see themselves as Yuri. So like women who like yaoi and men who like yaoi get along with each other relatively.
Yes.
It's a different story when it comes to men and women who like Yuri.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a really different story, and yeah, it's hard to escape that.
Yeah, that's another societal barrier that was overcome.
Of course, I want that to change. I want the
Yeah,
genre of Yuri to flourish, but
Yeah.
like it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard.
Definitely.
So yeah, even Yuri has their own difficulties, I think. But at the same time, it's not like we can pit yaoi and Yuri against each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Like,
shouldn't.
we shouldn't. Yaoi and Yuri both depict struggles in their own way. Like, if you guys know how bad Netflix is in censoring same-sex relationships, it happened to Kaworu and Shinji in Neon Genesis Evangelion on Netflix. It also happened to Sailor Moon on Netflix.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, they're in
Yes. Oh my god.
Yes, it's on Aries' laptop right now.
It's a sticker on my laptop right now. Yeah, it's censored as like they are cousins.
Yeah, they're not girlfriends.
But
They're
they're
close because they're cousins.
cousins.
I'm not that close with my cousins.
They're best
Gal pals.
friends.
Yeah, that's your childhood best friends. I hate it.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it? Like Sailor Moon, actually, props to Sailor Moon because at the time, well, it's a very early anime, but for its time, there is an element of homonormativity there.
Yeah.
Like there's an episode where a classmate of Usagi with Sailor Moon like gave a letter. They were like, "Are you Tsukino-san?" And she's like, "Oh." Like, give me a letter, and then he's like, Usagi, like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I have already already have someone I like, and she was like, oh no, but she was like, oh, don't worry, we can still be friends. So she didn't. I like the fact that she did not acknowledge that you're a girl and you like me. There's also another classic is Card Captor Sakura, which turns out that she's actually pansexual. And also,
Who is?
Sakura.
Oh.
Yeah, you already know. She also like girls in there though, and Tomoyo actually likes Sakura. So many gay stuff actually in earlier anime. Let's just not emphasize, of course, because it's an earlier time. But I'm just pointing it out that if earlier anime has done it, and now that the LGBT is getting more representation, there's still hope and we can do it better. Let's go, lesbians.
Let's
Yeah,
go,
let's go,
lesbians,
let's go.
Let's go, feminists.
Yes.
Okay.
I like that they're changing now. Like a lot of shows are changing now. They're open to more depictions of what romance between two girls is supposed to be and what it can be,
Yeah.
and all other possibilities. So I guess that's what the appeal of Yuri at this era. That's the appeal of Yuri nowadays. It's not just the one-dimensional, oh, do I really like her? This is wrong. They're adding more representations to it. They're normalizing it now. It's not that it's wrong. It's just normal falling in love. There's butterflies in your stomach. And I don't know. That's what I find appealing about Yuri. The fact that it's just really cute girls falling in love.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, yeah.
Again, love is love.
Something about cute girls falling in love. I think that's one of the limiting factors of Yuri is that
Yeah.
a lot of the modern Yuri depictions are inside of cute girls doing cute things genres. For example, like
Yeah, Samurai
Yeah,
Bird and
those kinds
White
of things.
Album.
yeah, and
White Album.
like I get that a lot of people don't really like that genre because they probably find it boring. Yeah, because it's inside of slice of life. So yeah, I think that's one of the things that I want to see is more Yuri outside of that genre.
Like more drama.
Yeah, more dramas in general. Oh, also idol animes. Like
Oh yeah.
it goes for
Love life.
it goes for like male idols as well, but like in given the amount of like prevalent idol anime such as like Love Life or what was it called?
Love Life.
Love Life
And then
or
Love
Love Life.
Idol Master, yeah, Idol Master.
Yeah.
It's like there are a lot of Yuri content in them, and I feel like that the cute girls doing cute things genre and the idol anime genre, a lot of the Yuri depictions in them, it might come across as fan service, just basically.
Yeah.
And I guess that's one of the problems as well, that even if that they're quote unquote depicted, is the depiction actually to appease the LGBT audience, or it's just for like fan service for the people who fetishize the
If
Yuri?
you think then idol anime isn't really restricted to anime. They have games, they have drama series, and
Yeah.
that tends to generate more money.
Yeah.
And the more they make these two people interact, the more money they're generating from the LGBT audience.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know, it feels kind of like the queer baiting issue we
Oh.
discussed in the
Oh,
podcast.
that-
Like they're not technically together. They don't label us this,
There's so
but
much
we're
tension.
yeah, but we're gonna feed you guys anyway because you want your money. I mean, I have a feeling some of them really don't want it for money. It's just for the plot. But I can't help but see it as
Yeah.
that.
Oh no, that
Okay. Perfect transition to since you brought up the thing about
this
queer
one was
baiting.
perfectly for money. Didn't have
Yeah.
anything to do with the plot.
So one of the more recent Kyoto Animation anime was Hibike Euphonium.
Yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah. Oh my God.
And you know, as a Yuri fan, I was excited that like
Same.
the two main characters who are both girls, they were like closer than you would think of friends.
They
or,
were
like, best
flirting
friends.
with each
They were
other.
literally flirting with each other, Obi. And I get that because Hibike Euphonium was an adaptation from a light novel, and the main character Kumiko is like she is interested in a boy in the light novel. But in the anime, or at least the first season, it was shown all throughout that Kumiko is only like fixated on Reina, like the other girl. But they did like, I don't know, something unexpected. But we weren't, I mean, to be fair, since the source material was already like not gay, we were expecting it to be like, you know, there was some people who were expecting that, nah, it's gonna be straight at the end.
But
And
to be fair,
Yeah.
they were kind of leaning on the.
yeah, they were definitely leaning on the girl and girl
No.
relationship instead in the anime.
But then season 2 came in, and there was like, oh nope, it's actually
Yeah, apparently it's,
Oh my God.
it's actually heterosexual, so I don't know how to feel about that. And it's just sad for me because Hibige Euphonium was my favorite anime.
Why?
But
was
yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Because
until season 2 came
like
in.
the first season was really well made, and the fact that the main characters are like in a Yuri relationship with each other is even it made it even better that like everyone just treated it as normal, but apparently it's not relationship.
To be fair for them, they never said Reina was
Yeah.
only interested in Kumiko.
Yeah, that's
They
the
never
thing
dropped
also.
the Reina like the senpai teacher thing.
Honestly, it's hard for me to call it queer baiting even if I do, because they never really actually said anything that constitutes them that. Anyway, to be fair for Kyoto Animation, is that they never really actually gave clear signals that they're actually only interested with each other. So I guess you can say that it's not queer baiting, but at the same time, like due to the their actions with each other, they're like,
Paasa.
yeah, it's like
Super.
that. It's super. But in any case, even if the main couple, quote unquote couple of the anime didn't really happen, at the very least, there's another couple within Hibike Euphonium.
There was
that-
actually 2.
Actually, yeah, there's actually 2. But one of them is like there's an entire movie dedicated to those 2.
Aw.
It's called Liz to Aoitori, Liz and the Bluebird. And while they're continuing the tradition of Kyoani with they're not really they're not explicitly gay, they're not explicitly lesbian, but at the same time, they gave them a whole movie, just the 2 of them being,
Basically,
pals.
there was no guy in between.
Yeah, there was no one in between of them, and they were just all over each other. Not in a sexual way, but
Yeah. Well, having said that, I just noticed something. We like anime or manga or mangas that really don't drop labels at the characters. They just accept them as normal.
Yeah.
But then again, that's also a dangerous tightrope.
Yeah.
Because the issue with queer baiting is we want confirmation.
Nothing sets them in stone.
Yeah, we want confirmation, but at the same time, we don't like labels because they need to be normal. So, I don't know, that's a really,
It's a
really
dilemma.
tough, it's
I
a
think-
real dilemma.
I think one of the what we want is that for people to treat it normally. But at the same time, we want those 2 characters who are allegedly interested in each other to confirm with each other that they are actually going out.
Yeah.
It's just that it's not like Hibige Euphonium wherein they never actually said anything about actually dating. Not to each other anyway. But yeah, we want them to say to each other that we're actually going out.
Okay, so that's a fair compromise, I think. They don't have to say that they're lesbian or bisexual or any label. They just have to say, yeah, they're in love with the
each
person.
other. Yeah.
So that's a good
That's
compromise.
already
That's a good
confirmed.
compromise.
That in itself is like a good confirmation anyway.
Oh, I guess that's what happened to. Sorry, I'm gonna compare it to Yaoi.
Yeah,
I guess that's what happened to Yuri on Ice.
Yeah, I think.
They don't drop this J word. They don't drop labels. They just drop rings and kisses and confirmations of
Yeah.
love in every chance.
Actually, one thing I noticed with the whole homosexual thing is that a lot of the more successful ones are more they just confirm their love for each other instead of people acknowledging that they're actually lesbian or they're actually gay.
Yeah.
But the other side of the coin, wherein their love is formed even through they acknowledge themselves that what they're doing is not quote unquote normal, but they still love each other anyway. I've seen a lot of those kinds of Yuri mangas, and I think they're very appealing, honestly, because it shows their struggle with the society above, that they're not supposed to be doing this according to them. And one manga I can think of is Girlfriends by Morinaga Milk. It's like a story of two girls wherein they're like, it's a typical high school setting, but like they find out eventually that they're actually not in love with boys. They're actually in love with each other. And it showed their struggle with like coping, like coming to terms with the fact that they're in love with a person who is the same sex as them. And I think that itself has some appeal, but at the same time, I think there's a lot of readers of Yuri that just want to get away from they just want to view Yuri as a vacuum. Like, they don't want the strings from society in their like fictional works. They just want to take a break from actual society. So I'm guessing that's one of the main reasons why like content such as Yuri is so popular, because like it's normalized for them.
Yeah, it's normalized in that world.
Yeah. So, but there are also a lot of good mangas like the one I mentioned, like Girlfriends. It never made it into an anime, but yeah, I think it's good, and especially for those who are like, well, for me, since like I'm cishet, right? So it shows to people like me that the struggle that they have to go through, just to have the same things that we do, but without. I mean, we have those things without like repercussions. Yeah, we don't have to fight for it, but they do, and it's a good read for people like us, because we have to know that they're struggling with this. We have to help them with this. We have to help make society better for them. That kind of thing.
Yeah, so there's really a lot of nuances that we need to consider when it comes to different Yuri shows, anime, mangas, and manhwas. But personally, well, after having had this discussion, we discussed history, we compared it to yaoi, we discussed labels and queer baiting and a lot of things in between. Would you guys consider watching more Yuri after this? And why?
Oh yeah, definitely for me, because I mean, I like the genre, and I want to see it flourish more. But I want to bring up something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Like of course we want to like consume more content of Yuri, but lately, I mean, it's not just lately. I think a typical problem with the Yuri genre is there's not a lot of content creators.
Yeah.
It's not like yaoi. I mean, of course, half of the content is just pure sex. Half of the other content is like other things, but still Yuri. And I find that the other half, the non-sexual thing, there's been a lack of like good content lately, and it upsets me as a Yuri fan, because I mean, I'm like looking up like titles to possibly read, but at the same time,
There isn't much around.
there isn't
There
much.
isn't much to read. I mean, there can be much to read, but there's not a lot of quality things to read, the kinds you're really looking for.
The case for me is why I kind of am not as enthusiastic anymore, is that there isn't much variation when it comes to plot.
Yeah, that
There's
as well.
typical, they're high school students, they like each other, they do cute stuff, and then either that or they're having a lot of sex. And it kind of saturated me in consuming content. I'm like, I do still consume some content, but they're not your typical stuff. There's Mage and Demon Queen, there's
Oh yeah, you have to bring that
Moonlight
up
Garden.
later.
But Moonlight Garden has some kind of problems because they're objectifying women. But yeah, I'm not as enthusiastic anymore because there's too much of the same feel everywhere. There's not much variation when it comes to content. Unlike in BL and yaoi, where there's a lot.
Yeah. How about you guys?
Me personally, yes. I actually have not consumed a lot of Fury. Well, mostly because, yes, there's this problem that the reliance on tropes and it's too cliche. Me personally, of course, my course is creative writing, so I don't want to read the same story all over again. Like, oh, cute girl.
They just have
fall in
different
love.
names.
Wow,
Yeah.
they just have different names, different hairstyles, same old stuff. Like that's also one of the reasons why I'm not that exposed to the genre. And the ones that, well, unfortunately for me, the ones that I have consumed are quite problematic. In my opinion, do you guys know Netsuzo Trap?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I also want to hear
Yes.
your thoughts about it. Netsuzo Trap is, oh my god.
Yeah, the problem with Netsuzo Trap is actually I want to bring up the author of that, which is Kodama Naoko. She does a lot of like nice yuri content, but in my opinion, for me, Netsuzo Trap abbreviated into like NTR,
NTR.
not Netarare. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's a different.
It's very it's like the girls are actually sexual objects. That's what I get from it. It's like they're cheating on. Basically, the plot is one of the girls is cheating on her boyfriend because her boyfriend abuses her, and she cheats on him with her best friend, which is also a girl. And well, there's possibly I don't know, real life thing that it's similar to like that. It's similar to that, but at the same time, the depiction of the actual plot itself, it's like they're just like molesting each other all the
Yeah.
time. That's all I can see from it.
Yeah, and you said it's objectified, right? And,
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give the name. The name of the pink-haired girl is Yuma,
Mm.
and the name of the black-haired girl is Hotaru. And Hotaru's boyfriend is actually like the depiction of the male gaze. He's the
Yeah.
one. He did right.
Yeah. Oh my God, I just remembered.
When he catches them doing stuff, he takes a picture of it as if it's a secret or like it's something that
Yeah.
that he likes. And I'm like, what is this? And I hate that it's actually one of like the best theory anime list. I'm like, no, how is it?
Probably the only reason why it's high up there, it's because
we don't
like I mean a lot of the viewers are actually male.
There we go. Society again.
Yeah.
Society strikes again.
Yeah.
I tried reading it because there was a lot of traction, but after a few chapters, like I don't like this.
Yes.
The patriarchy strikes again.
Yes.
No offense.
No, it's okay. It's an actual
There's
problem, and
not
we acknowledge
taken
it.
because it's actually
Male
true.
gaze.
Mm.
Everything is like filtered to the male gaze.
Yep.
Personally, well, for me, I don't read Yuri as much. I want to read more Yuri. As someone who is actually on the LGBT spectrum, I want to see how these shows portray it, because most of the lesbian films I watch, it's really just Philippine-based, like Makabukas and Billy and Emma, and a lot of that. I want to see more, because I don't know. I'm not satisfied with the content we have right now.
Yeah.
I'm not, because I don't know. I like yaoi, but as someone who's on the spectrum, I want to see more. I feel like I would connect more with Yuri, so to speak, as someone who's been in that position before. But at the same time, I want that to be a position of power, of actually just going through the turmoils of love without the attachments to society. And well, having said that, I want to see more. I don't know. I want to see more lesbian creators, because I feel like especially with the case of yaoi, a lot of its authors are female, and even though some of them are good, sometimes they're really not just gonna get the perspective of what it's like to actually be gay or lesbian. So that's why I particularly I forgot the title, I'm sorry again. It's a manhwa. It was made by a lesbian woman, and she has a partner, and the manhwa is really just a daily life of these two working adults who just happens to be both female. I don't know the name. I'm sorry.
I think it's familiar to me, but I don't know the name either.
And then, and another one I want to recommend. I haven't started yet, but it has good reviews. It's called My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness.
I have read that.
Is it good?
It's really good. But here's the thing: it's not the theme doesn't revolve around the Yuri thing. It's more like she just happens to be gay, and because the main theme of the content is depression. How she copes with being an adult, being an adult with no job, like being an adult with and having to deal with her parents that are expecting things from her, and she just happens to be gay. And one of the coping mechanisms shown, like her coping mechanism is that she actually calls over like a lesbian prostitute. Yeah. So and it's not like it's heavy, but at the same time it's not like drama heavy.
Yeah.
It's like there's no drama at all. It's just a portrayal of her. Oh, this is what I think, because that actually is a autobiography.
Okay, now I want to read it more.
Yeah, it's like she portrays it in a like kind of like comedic way, but at the same time, this is her story. This is what happened to her.
Yeah, that's what I want to see then in more Yuri anime or manga. Like the attraction to women, it's not the central thing.
Yeah,
the plot.
Yes.
It's really it just happens. It's just natural to the character. Like I just really want to see lesbianism or attraction to women as something normal.
Yeah.
That's all I want. It's so simple. Give it to me, oh dear, oh dear anime lords.
Well, I have encountered some like more autobiographies, but there are only a handful, and I forgot the title again. But like, yeah.
I mean, we can't control the content because we can't
Yeah.
control the creator, so we just really have to wait patiently.
Unless
And
we
then-
make the content ourselves, but we can't do that.
I mean, creative writing. You have power. I'm just a fan that can give you money to keep creating.
Well, if you guys wanna continue the Yuri genre, I do have more recommendations that I can give.
Okay, so how about before we conclude the podcast, you just lay out all the recommendations you want to lay out.
So, first I wanna lay down some titles, like actual content, not the authors. I'm gonna recommend some authors later, but
Okay.
the thing is, Yuri isn't just Japanese or Korean or Chinese. There are actually also Thai Yuri, and one of the title that I've read is called Lily Love. It's made by a Thai author, and I think it's kind of good, but I'm not sure if you're gonna view it as like more of the same. But it might feel that way. But I think it's refreshing to see content from other perspectives, like outside of East Asia. And speaking of outside of East Asia, there's also actually a Filipino Yuri webtoon, Maiden Demon Queen. And the good thing about Maiden Demon Queen is that besides all of it is colored, of course, because it's a webtoon.
All
It's
of
like,
it is colored.
it's a fantasy genre. So it's not your typical high school or like slice of life setting. It's actually like a fantasy setting wherein there's just this girl adventurer that's somehow obsessed with the demon queen, who's supposed to be her enemy, and it's more of a comedic. The main point to it is that it's not like highlighting the fact that they're both girls, but it's more like that. Ooh, like if the straight genre, if the vanilla genre can do this, that boy adventurer is interested in the female antagonist, they can do it too, and it's more lighthearted and comedic. It's just one of those things that if you're tired seeing men take the spotlight, it's a good thing to read.
It's also good because no one questions why.
Yeah, nobody questions
Why she likes the demon queen.
It's just an established fact.
Her
That-
best friend knows it, and he does nothing.
Yeah, her best friend is a guy, which is he's also interesting in his own right. But just read it.
He's interested in someone else, but it's more.
It's funny. Basically, it's a comedy story. But yeah, I mean the protagonists are both girls, and
Season 2 has some very interesting development
I haven't
when it
read
comes to
season
plot.
But yeah, and the author is a Filipina, so might be
For your
interesting.
own. For your
Yeah.
own.
Hey, especially since she releases these things weekly, and she colors all of it. So.
Every Thursday, guys.
Yeah, hello, advertisement. Also, one of the well, these are just some of these already have sex in them, but I think this one I like in particular. It's also a cute girls doing cute things content, but in a different way. It's called Futaribeya, a room for two in English. They were roommates.
Gas.
My God, they were roommates.
Basically, it shows like this is one of those it's normal that they're in love with each other again, but it's not like explicitly stated that we're dating, but they do say from time to time that they love each other. And the appealing thing about it is that it shows their like experiences, because the manga starts from when they were first year high school and they become roommates, and then like the currently the manga is at when they're already both in college. So like it shows their progression as people who are together and people who are like they live together, and like it shows them like the relationship that develops. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting. It's like you know that feeling that I want to grow up with someone and grow old with someone. It's kind of like that, honestly. It's relaxing too, and the art is nice. They don't have sex, but yeah. Oh yeah, I mean the other titles here already have sex, so I'm just gonna recommend some authors. First of all is Nakatani Niyo. She is the author of Yagate Kimi ni Naru. She also has like, of course, all of these authors are like, except probably the non-Japanese ones. Like all of these authors are like, they release a lot of like one-shot doujins. So you might want to check out their other content as well. So Nakatani Niyo. Another one is Saburo Uta. Saburo Uta is the author of Citrus. She also has a lot of other content, and you might want to check it out. And then, despite that, one of her works was like, not liked by us, Kodama Naoko. She's the author of Netsuzuo Trap. She does have like other content that,
Isn't as problematic.
Yeah, isn't as problematic. Also, Morinaga Milk, the author of Girlfriends, and she does interesting stuff. All of these authors are female. That's the interesting thing, because like, I have not seen a Yuri author that is actually male.
It should be.
Yeah, because that would be problematic.
Yeah, it is, and that like goes to show that a lot. Like for example, Nakatani, like she probably illustrates the struggle of being a girl in love with another girl like accurately, instead of like a guy trying to like feel his way through whatever he's supposed to be writing. And also Yukiko. Yukiko is the author of Futaribeya, and she also has a lot of other content. Those are just like, all of them were Japanese. Yeah. As for like Korean and Chinese, I guess, authors, I don't have a lot because admittedly it's kind of hard to find actual like.
And we're really technically a Japanese org anyway.
Yeah,
so
I mean, it's okay.
So, having said all of that, I guess we'll just attach a list in the comment box so you guys can follow all of Amang's and ours, but mostly Amang's recommendations for Yuri anime and manga.
Yeah.
Since, we're all asking for more content, but sometimes you don't have the time to go through all that.
That's true.
So that's why we listen to other people's recommendations instead.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we haven't done that for the other podcasts, because we recommend a lot of anime in past podcasts, but we don't actually put it in list form. Okay, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that now. We're gonna start having a recommendations list at the end of every podcast.
Also, I just wanna add a recommendation of a game.
She was playing it earlier.
I was playing it earlier because I wanted to go with the girlfriend route, but I only got the friend route. But I know there's a girlfriend route. It's called Blooming Nightshade. That title is so Yuri.
Yeah, actually it is.
Right? Blooming Nightshade. It's Yuri.
Is it free?
You play as this girl named Himika, and then there are 6 other girls, and it's up to you which route you want to do first.
Yep.
And you Mango being a Yuri fan, I'm interested to know what you think about it after you played it. It's free.
Nice.
In Steam, so
The most important thing.
yeah, it's free on Steam. You could check it out. It's a quick game to finish actually, and I usually play it when
Oh, speaking of games, there's actually a game that it's not really Yuri, but it's or centers around like the relationship between two girls. What was it called?
Missed messages?
Missed Messages.
Oh, I've played that too.
Yeah.
I've played that
It's
too.
a max 20-minute game to play.
Yeah, it's just 20 minutes, but
My God.
like it's interesting to see. But yeah, I mean, it's not really on that spectrum we're in. Oh, the focus is on
They don't focus on.
They don't focus on it at all. But it's good.
Yeah, oh my gosh, the
Yeah.
happy birthday song is playing in my
Yeah.
head.
And it takes 20 minutes, so you know. And it's
I
free.
haven't played that shit.
Yeah.
And the art is good. So what's
just
stopping you?
The art is really good.
The art is really good.
Yes, I love the art.
It's
I-
wallpaper
I
material.
guess I know what I'm doing over the weekend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of heavy though, so just a fair
Yeah.
Yeah, just a warning.
Yep.
It has heavy themes, mixed messages.
Yeah.
Okay, so having said all of that, wow, there's so much content. I can't believe
Don't
it.
you want?
It's what I wanted, and now I'm overwhelmed. But I'm happy. I'm happy, kind of overwhelmed. So yeah, that's basically the end of our podcast. Thank you guys
Yay.
for listening to us talk about girls. It's been a fun podcast.
Yes.
We get to talk about. Never mind. I'll end my sentence there. Never mind. I do not want to expose myself. But yeah, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you for listening. As always, give us a like if you like what we're doing. If you'd like to recommend us a topic to talk about in our next few podcasts, just comment them down below or message us on our FB page. Jojo Podcast coming to you soon. I will work for it, I swear.
Yeah.
And subscribe to UP AME for more podcasts and more content, hopefully in the future. So, once again, this has been Angelica.
This has been Eric.
This has been Mango.
This has been Walter.
And that's it for this week's AME After Hours, your weekly podcast about anything and everything about anime, manga, and the community. So, see you guys on the next podcast.
See you guys soon.
Thank you.
Enjoy your Yuri content.
Consume more content.